assholes. They were nice men, but they were hardcore. It's the worst part of it.
Sam Elliott, the real American cowboy who spent decades in Hollywood, has built his career on grit and authenticity. But behind that iconic mustache and gravelly voice, there's a list of celebrities he's straight up hated, and trust me, it's not because they borrowed his boots, they've got some serious beef with the man himself. At number 6, let me tell you about Benedict Cumberbatch. In Hollywood, he is absolutely a darling. The critics eat him up, the fans adore him, and the awards just keep piling up on his table. But to Sam Elliott, well, he's just a prissy cowboy. Oh please, these are Elliott's words, not mine. But let me break it down for you because this story's got some serious bite. It all started in 2021 with The Power of the Dog. If you've seen the film, you know it's a modern take on the American West, but don't get too comfortable because the version of the West in this movie isn't the one you're used to. Enter Benedict Cumberbatch as Phil Burbank, a brooding, almost tortured cowboy. But here's the thing, Cumberbatch's cowboy doesn't feel authentic to Elliot. This wasn't just about a bad performance or a slow movie, Elliot took it personally. To him, Cumberbatch's portrayal wasn't about the real grit of the West, it felt like a polished fantasy version, and Elliot was pissed about it. For Elliot, the problem wasn't just that Cumberbatch was miscast, it was the fact that a man with a British accent and a background in theater was trying to capture something that required real, lived experience. Cumberbatch, for all his acting talent, couldn't fake the authenticity Elliot felt was needed to portray a true cowboy. And that's the heart of Elliot's frustration. When you spend decades embodying the life of a cowboy, no, living it, someone like Cumberbatch walking in, playing dress-up, and being praised for it, just doesn't sit right with him. But if you think this was just some subjective rant, a flash of frustration, let me remind you why Sam Elliott's feelings toward Cumberbatch matter so much. Elliott is a man who has spent over 6 decades in Hollywood, building a career based on authenticity, hard-earned respect, and a deep connection to the Western way of life. When someone with Cumberbatch's background, who has no real connection to that world, tries to portray it, Elliott sees it as a direct attack on the legacy he spent his entire career upholding. And if you think that was brutal of Sam Elliott, to hate someone over a movie portrayal, let me tell you about this 5th name on the list, Nicolas Cage. To Elliott, Cage's acting style is the complete opposite of everything he stands for. While the world has long praised Cage's chaotic manic energy and his performances, Elliott sees it for what it is, just spectacle. It's the kind of over-the-top, attention-seeking behavior that hijacks every scene and turns acting into a circus. When the two shared the screen in Ghost Rider, it didn't take long for their professional distance to show. Elliott kept his usual stoic, grounded presence while Cage exploded in a whirlwind of energy. His every movement, a declaration. And off-camera, Elliott wasn't shy about how he felt. Behind the scenes, he reportedly called Cage's style more fireworks than flame, a stinging critique that speaks volumes about what Elliott believes acting should be. For Sam, great acting isn't about who can make the most noise or draw the most attention. It's about subtlety. It's about letting the character speak, not the actor. Cage's loud, unpredictable style, in Elliott's eyes, represents the very thing wrong with modern cinema. The shift towards shock and chaos over truth and discipline. Elliott couldn't stand how the industry continued to praise Cage for his explosive performances, knowing it wasn't true acting, it was a show. And here's where it gets personal. Elliott's hate for Cage isn't just about acting styles, it's a direct attack on what modern cinema has become. But what if I told you there's an even more shocking reason Sam Elliott hated the 4th person on his list? I'm talking about none other than Kevin Costner. Elliott's disdain for Costner's portrayal of cowboys isn't just a casual gripe, it's personal. While Costner's roles in Wyatt Earp and Yellowstone have earned their fair share of praise, Elliott feels they fall short of representing the real Western experience. To him, Costner wasn't playing a true cowboy. He was playing a Hollywood version of one, and that's where the problem starts. Costner's portrayal of cowboys was polished, clean, and glamorous, the kind of image that Hollywood loves to sell, but Elliott wasn't having it. He embodied the real thing, the grit, the sweat, the dust that comes with actually living the cowboy life. To him, Costner's portrayal was more about fashion and movie magic than the brutal, unforgiving reality of the American West. Costner might have been a big name in Hollywood, but in Elliott's eyes, he was a polished actor playing dress-up, nothing more. The story took an even more interesting turn when Elliott was offered a cameo on Yellowstone. You'd think he'd be flattered, right? Nope. Elliot turned it down flatly, calling the show soap opera with a cowboy hat. So why is this so aggressive? It's not just about two actors disagreeing on a role, it's about Elliot feeling like Costner was leading the audience astray. But wait, if you think Sam Elliott was just annoyed by an actor's eccentric style, wait until you hear about why Elliot can't stand Leto. This is not just about acting quirks, it's about the complete destruction of what Elliot believes the craft should be. Leto's method acting has always been extreme, but in Suicide Squad it was something else entirely. The guy stayed in character off camera for weeks. Yes, weeks. He sent rats to his co-stars, apparently as part of his commitment to the role, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Leto's antics were more about performance art than acting, flamboyant, chaotic, and focused on getting headlines. For Elliot, this was the worst kind of betrayal to the craft. Acting, to him, should be about disappearing into a role quietly, authentically, not about making sure the tabloids know how committed you are. Leto's stunts, in Elliot's eyes, were a mockery of acting itself. Now, here's where it gets real. Elliot was so put off by Leto's behavior that when he found out Leto was attached to a film he was working on, he didn't just complain. He quietly walked away. That's how far Elliot was willing to go. It wasn't just a case of personal dislike, it was a moral stand. Elliot wasn't going to let someone like Leto drag acting into the mud with him. Now, let me tell you about the real beef of Elliot with Ashton Kutcher at number 2 of this list. We all know him from that 70s show, right? The goofy, charming guy who got his big break with a lot of laughs and that pretty boy image. But to Sam Elliott, Kutcher is the perfect representation of everything that's gone wrong with Hollywood, and that's why Elliot's disdain runs deep. It's not just about their roles together in The Ranch. Elliot's frustration with Kutcher is a lot bigger than that. You see, the problem is how Hollywood has evolved, and to Elliot, it's all about image over authenticity now. Kutcher, with his sitcom roots and shiny tech ventures, symbolizes everything that drives Elliot crazy about the modern Hollywood system. In Elliot's eyes, acting used to be about the craft, something you earned and respected. But now, Hollywood's all about who's got the best followers, the biggest brand, and the sharpest smile. To Elliot, Kutcher was the perfect example of that new breed, an actor who's more concerned with how he looks than with the substance he's bringing to the table. On set, Elliot didn't cause a scene, but behind closed doors, he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. In fact, he called Kutcher no real actor. It was clear to him, Kutcher's rise to fame wasn't because of his acting chops, it was because of his marketability. And that, to Elliot, is what Hollywood has become. A place where being real doesn't matter as much as being popular. Why does this hatred run so deep? Because Elliot sees this as more than just a difference of opinion. It's a full condemnation of where Hollywood is headed, and now we reach the final name on Sam Elliott's list, a name that stings deep because this one isn't just about professional differences, this is personal. We're talking about Jeff Bridges. Sam and Jeff were once the ultimate brotherhood in Hollywood. Both men carved their way with authenticity, quiet strength, and that rare magnetic presence that made you believe every word they said. But after Bridges won his Oscar for Crazy Heart, things shifted in a way that left Elliot deeply hurt. The change was subtle but unmistakable. As Bridges moved into Hollywood's elite circles, Elliot felt the distance growing between them. It wasn't just that Bridges became more successful. He became more polished, more curated, more like the stars they once both resisted. To Elliot, Bridges started to embody everything they had once rejected: the Hollywood gloss, the media machine, and the carefully crafted image. What happened to the grounded, humble man he once admired? That man was slipping away, and what remained didn't feel like the brother Elliot had stood beside for years. Here's where it hits hardest. Elliot never publicly aired his grievances. There was no big dramatic fallout, no explosive fight in front of the cameras. But insiders close to Elliot have said that he felt a profound sense of loss, like losing a brother, but without the messy breakup. It wasn't about Bridges betraying him, it was the slow, painful realization that the person he once connected with so deeply had transformed into someone else. The kind of transformation that happens when success changes you in ways you can't quite reverse. I know a lot of you might think that today's hate is all about someone stealing a girlfriend or pulling off some fraud, but we're talking about the 90s, where hate came from real, raw reasons like these. So, if you want to stay connected with the true stories of the 90s, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you think we missed a major feud, drop your thoughts in the comments below.